So after 70 years, we finally recognized the apartheid, the brutality, the occupation, and that, well, Palestinian lives matter. But the question today is, who is arming this apartheid, brutality, and occupation? Who are these people? No-brainer, we're starting with the US, which has provided arms to Israel every year since 1961. So that's 1961, 1962, 1963, 1964. I'm joking, I'm not gonna actually count all the years, you get the point. Now, as the years pass and Israel continues committing crimes, like for instance, its proven use of white phosphorus against civilians in Gaza in 2009, you would think that there would be some restraint, but there is absolutely none. Between 2009 and 2020, more than 70% of the arms Israel bought came from the US. Money-wise, that's billions annually. To be specific, under a security assistance agreement spanning from 2019 to 2028, the US has agreed to give Israel $3.8 billion a year to spend on American-made weapons. Palestinians, in comparison, received $19 million in 2020 as part of US aid. 3.8 billion, 19 million. Interesting. Overall, since 2000, the US has actually supplied Israel with more than $58 billion in military aid and $5 billion in economic aid. Washington loves to use this word aid a lot, but 80% of all this aid since 1967 has been to the military industry. Saving someone by giving him hectic weapons is honestly a ridiculous concept to say the least, especially if you consider the power dynamics on the ground. There's also a host of US companies supplying Israel with the means to kill, such as Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics, Amatec, UTC Aerospace, and Raytheon. Wallahi, to be honest, they should send them books. You know, these men are still reading racist Zionist texts as if they were the Torah. Or maybe, just maybe, you can fix Ferguson's water supply, healthcare, and even student loans. Just a few financial ideas. Or you know what? Invest in crypto, fam. Whatever, innit? But I mean, this is no secret. The US and Israel's relationship can only be compared to a spoiled child asking his mum to load his gun while breastfeeding him as an adult.
There's no apology to be made. None. It is the best $3 billion investment we make. Were there not an Israel, the United States of America would have to invent an Israel to protect her interest in the region.
Second on the poisonous breastfeeding, arms trading list, you have Germany. Talk about compensating for past crimes, eh? Germany is so serious about this, they don't even release the data of the arms they delivered to Israel. Transparency at its finest. But what we do know is that Berlin has issued licenses for arms sales to Israel worth 1.6 billion euros from 2013 to 2017. Germany was manufacturing patrol boats for Israel since the 1950s, and they sold them weapons throughout the 1960s and 1970s, and has done so every year since 1994. So that's 1995, 1996, 1990. I'm joking, fam. I'm not gonna count the years. And considering Angela Merkel's public solidarity with Israel while Tel Aviv was bombing Gaza, I'm guessing the sales will continue. Third on the list is Italy, Italia. According to Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, Rome has provided 5.6% of Israel's major conventional arms imports between 2009 and 2020. Maybe they should also send them pizza and pasta, but they will probably steal it and say it's Israeli. Because you know, if they don't, someone else will. But besides the jokes, Italy has also had some honorable stands in this whole issue, condemning colonial settlements in Sheikh Jarrah and of course the dock workers of Livorno who courageously refused to load a ship carrying weapons to take back to the apartheid regime. In fourth place, we have the UK, and it all got peaked when Zara Sultana, an MP, asked Boris Johnson this.
So can the Prime Minister look me in the eye and tell me that British-made weapons or components weren't used in the war crimes that killed these 3 children and hundreds of other Palestinians?
As you can imagine, the silence was deafening, and an investigation has been launched into the use of British-made weapons in Gaza. Officially, the UK has licensed more than £400 million in arms to Israel since 2015. British military hardware was also used during the 11-day bombardment of Gaza, according to The Independent. But the actual amount of British arms sales deals to Israel are kept secret, thanks to an opaque system of weapon sales called open licensing. There are also private British companies that help supply Israel with weapons and hardware, including BAE Systems, Atlas Electronic UK, MPE, Meggitt, Penny and Giles Controls, Redmayne Engineering, Senior PLC, and Land Rover. Land Rover, you know, fam. I'm not gonna lie, I used to like that one. Look, The story doesn't end here, because besides helping business with allies and their conglomerates, Israel itself is a major spender, producer, exporter, and user of arms. In 2020, Israel was the world's 12th largest weapons supplier. Major importers of Israeli arms include India, South Africa, Singapore, and the US. In terms of spending, mashallah, these guys really splash. They spent $2,508 per capita and allocated 12% of government spending for military purposes. Is this life, Shabu? Whether it's the government's companies or the occupying apartheid regime itself, we must consider the simple notion that all that money and all these big numbers are all being employed as tools for indiscriminate killing by the so-called democracy that has for over 70 years spread terror across historic Palestine. Hopefully, one day all this money will be spent for the right cause, which by no means is killing innocents. That's why I think we should give it all to Hamas. I'm joking, fam, I'm joking, obviously, but you know that's what they're gonna say I wanted to say, innit? Also, catch us next week. We're gonna do a piece about Kwame Nkrumah and his dream of uniting Africa. Peace.